Whoever decided to put taunt buttons in this game deserves to be rewarded. Big time. There is no intro joke. There is only chaos.
Chaos, 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 chaos. We're here to kill chaos.
So with all that said, I can't believe I get to have my 25th birthday on a Saturday. My 25th birthday!
He hurled his thunderbolt.
He must have had a crazy reason to do that. Huh? What do you mean? You know, a locomotive.
I was frozen today!
You know, I think I can vibe with this. Got some lovely people here.
Yeah, Oscar.
So, you figure out any ideas yet?
Well, while I was on my way here, I actually got a few recommendations for the Jedi Archives, one of which was apparently the fact that LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga finally came out.
Oh yeah, I've been playing that last one a fair bit. I'd be down for that.
Wait a minute. It finally came out?!
Yeah? Have you been frozen in carbonite the past few weeks?
And even though I will not include any entries from my original favorite games video, if an entry from the got an updated version that I feel a spot is perfectly warranted for, like say, Sonic Colors Ultimate, then I can do that as well. So with that said, let's use this for a segment to talk about Sonic Colors Ultimate. Told you if I had a chance to talk about it another day. The rest, I'm drawing a blank on. Wait, there was a Batman kart racer on PS1? Hey Ben!
Yeah?
Think about an obscure kart racer for you!
Of course there is. I'll start looking for a copy online.
I also didn't realize until now that the gap between Kirby Star Allies and Kirby and the Forgotten Land has been about 4 years. I swear it does not feel like that. You'll see what I mean when we get into things. Unless you freeze up along the way. I told you I'd keep on standby, so chill.
Chill.
What they did show off in terms of gameplay honestly did look pretty cool, at least in my opinion, but the trailer was notable because of
Chaos.
those. Yeah, those quickly delved their way into meme territory, and it feels great to get to a space that you want to get at and mess with the other players. Or kick the AI while it's already down if you want to go that far. Like the girl in Chapter 6 believes she let a cat to its death and just ran away without actually confirming her fears, only to find out that the cat's fine. Basically, you could sum it up like this.
Were you killed?
Sadly, yes. But I lived.
For those who don't know how a Muso game works, you have a light and heavy attack button that you can use to string combos together, and performing them will fill up 2 gauges, one which will let you unleash super attacks, and the one where you go into a super state, which is called Awakening Mode in this case. I like they didn't change the name of that one. And while it's Skywalker Saga, we do get the Echo Base as the main hub for it, complete with a Wampa for a playable character.
You rejected my offer to place no mustard ball, and now I shall bring in the worst hailstorm of your feeble lives.
But I am totally relieved that the game has been properly finished and released to the public, so that we can all admire Grievous's dancing skills. I didn't find a whole lot of uses for it, as the window of this move going off is extremely tight, but I do enjoy it when it is easier to pull off. Besides, doing it against an enemy arrow will essentially be like this. If you want a quick rundown of all the Platinum Games titles I'll be mentioning, here you go. So if you're expecting something for The Legend of Korra, Transformers Devastation, or Babylon's Fall for some reason, then sorry to disappoint you. Kirby can even do a perfect dodge if you time it just right. Has Kirby been learning a lot from modern day hack and slashes or from Breath of the Wild or something? I don't care, that's just awesome. So I'd like to go further into what works about this trend, what doesn't work, and what we can do about it going forward. And hopefully not need to remake this video within a few months' time. With a large number of villains even getting some recorded interviews as collectibles. And full disclosure, the Riddler got the funniest ones.
I was determined to prove him wrong, so I entered a contest at school. A $20 prize to the kid who could figure out an almost impossible logic problem. I won, of course.
And that pleased your father?
Hardly. He was convinced I had cheated. He kept yelling, "You must have cheated! Admit it, you moron! You cheated!" I swore I didn't, and he hit me for lying.
I'm sorry to hear that, Edward.
Don't be. He was right.
I can see him making the goofiest of smiles behind that mic. Heck, even if I had to hear the Bound theme and the enemy encounter theme a bunch of times, the instrumentation of them feels just right to the point where every time they play, I don't exactly go. Ah! So when they announced that a remaster was coming over to modern consoles, I was pretty ecstatic.
This way to bear country. You'll know when you're there. As soon as you enter, you'll feel like a bear. A great grizzly bear.
I like bears, okay? So, this is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Why?
Oh, I don't really. I just wanted to shoehorn that quote into this video for no reason at all.
Well, to be fair, I think we used that quote better than Attack of the Clones.
Anyways, I believe now's a good time to dive right into this game.
Only problem is that now I have to join everyone on the weight train for Chapter 3. Ah well, I'll just find some potassium to tide myself over.
I found some good potassium.
But perhaps one of the bigger additions was Mouthful Mode, where Kirby becomes one with technology, and turns into a different form altogether. And with it just being in the first 2 minutes, you bet I was excited to see what the rest of the game had to offer. Oh, and one more thing. There we go, Sigmund felt a bit barren there for a second. The mission they start on when the game begins is to find an adept that can manipulate other adepts by singing Lumen, also known as the Muse. I'm the Lightning Ripper, and I'm happy to report that they didn't forget the best Three Houses character, the Gatekeeper.
Nothing to report.
They knew what they were doing. But rarely is any of this unfair. The game does give you some breathing room for you to regain composure and reevaluate the situation, unless you're one of these three, or if it's in this place. And if you die, and you will, the game will show you how far you got, which ended up being a good tool for me to keep going until I finally won. Though that doesn't stop moments like these from being a special kind of deflating. When you put the theme of winter and Pokemon to the same sentence, you'd likely think how the ice type can be so much better than it is, all the gym puzzles that use ice physics, or that one snowfield in Sinnoh where you move at this pace. That's definitely what Cold Feet looks like.
Jack, what are you thinking about?
Well, since this game is basically an adaptation of 9 separate films, meaning talking about the story means we are essentially talking about the plots of all those films in one swoop, I need to figure out a way to sum them all up.
Good point. Wanna just do a seconds-long half-hearted summary of each movie?
Huh, not a bad idea. So with that said, here's the story of every Star Wars film in under a minute. Go! Phantom Menace. Planet is taken over, get help to get the planet back, also something raised in the desert.
Attack of the Clones. Some jerk is trying to assassinate Padme. Apparently the ones behind her are Boba Fett's dad and Christopher Lee, rest in peace. Also, Anakin doesn't like sand.
Revenge of the Sith.
You ever hear of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Vandalize the Jedi Temple with crayons.
A New Hope. Kid escapes crappy home life on the desert planet and blows up the big scary space ball.
The Empire Strikes Back. Luke searches his feelings because he knows something is true. And that something is that there is a literal Easter egg on Hoth.
Return of the Jedi. The big scary Empire suffers an embarrassing defeat at the hands of cute little teddy bears.
The Force Awakens. It's A New Hope. Also, the Stormtrooper did more than Captain Phasma.
The Last Jedi. Luke is suffering from the Big Grumpy, and this causes Rey to throw herself into danger.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
That. There. Now you're ready to start watching the Disney Plus shows. And one of the most dumbfounding things about this system is that costumes that match shooting projectiles to this control scheme can only shoot these projectiles and nothing else. Not even a jump. There are costumes that don't allow you to jump. In a platformer. Why? There's a slick few that are annoying to avoid, even with the flash field, hover, and privation, and I should mention there's also bottomless pits at the edge of the arena, which makes things feel ridiculously cramped. Oh, and he chucks a meteor at you at the end that instantly kills you, and if you die at any point, you go back to the beginning of Phase 1. Yay! Every character is very likable, the art direction and the little touches thrown in are just oozing with charm, combat's really fun, diplomacy always fails, and the boss lineup is great. Also during one cutscene,
she's taken them to hide somewhere. I need to follow her and find out where she put them.
I didn't know we get to hear Batman think to himself. Wait, that's the only time this happens? Well, crap. And finally, the Marauder, because sometimes I just want to slam a giant axe into everything. Heck, one of the upgrades even gives you super armor during special attacks. The Byleth jokes write themselves. I'm really happy to see these heroes represented in a game format on their own, and the game they got is certainly a good one. Also, this game can Rickroll you. Rickrolling as a meme will never die. I find it very nice to actually explore the arc from the bustling and vast center city to the rundown slums, because the game has plenty of useful items to find and side quests to do, which include conducting investigations for missing people using the Beast Legion to track a scent and getting a kid some ice cream. Oh, and there's cats to collect. Someone on the dev team likes cats. This reminds me a lot of the Robot Armor's wheel form back in Planet Robot, except now, you can do donuts. I enjoy it solely because of the fact that if you hurt innocent bystanders, Obi-Wan completely berates you, with my favorite one being this.
Has your brain turned into sand, Anakin? Stop firing at the civilians!
This is a great way to still make the fight engaging, and convince you to train with just your gun and the Stellar Spark, your default special weapon, rather than just use the weakness and manipulate the boss's patterns like in most Mega Man titles. Though I will say I find it hilarious how Tessio is weak to his own weapon. Tessio, buddy, did you take weapon weakness classes from Metal Man?
I don't know. Did you take video classes from the guy with 0 subs? LOL, pod.
Remind me to never ask this guy questions ever again. And for one more thing, I can kinda see why the Pearl Clan can handle the cold so well. Because they have a hot spring to help them out. Hot springs are pretty neato. And balance statues which act as this game's equivalent to power stars, the latter of which you need to unlock more levels. You only need 110 to fulfill that quota, which I got before chapter 10, but if you do that, the game decides to say that you can't access the final boss until you beat every level. I'd be fine with this, but considering it was letting me go willy-nilly with what trophies I wanted to fill up that bar, this essentially means that it did not commit to the pace it was trying to go for early on.
You had one job.
I say this because from previews, I'm assuming you'll be able to use all that money for stuff like upgrading abilities, dining with buddies, or going to this gacha machine to get trophies so that Kirby doesn't need to steal someone's credit card for that.
I did find it a bit weird in Return of the Jedi that the somber rendition of Imperial March that plays at Vader's redemption and death is used for the level where Chewbacca and Wicket the Ewok are going on their Imperial Walker rampage. It's laughably out of place, but that's really the only thing that stuck out.
Luke, please. What if I'm actually hijacked by teddy bears on a walking carpet? Aren't you sad?
Ooh, that hit the spot. This is something that's really best explained by the footage. Also, I love the slow-mo and the camera angles for when you finish off the last thug. Never gets old. The familiars are also a nice bonus, and the transformations make the trek even more fun, as they, well, 2 of them anyways, are capable of zipping around at high speeds that grant you access to different secrets you wouldn't have found otherwise. The Demon Familiar referencing Nintendo.
A Switch!
The most I can say about how the story is shaping up to be is that there are moments that are unintentionally funny. Like, Jack, Ash, and Jed meet up just because their crystals resonate with one another. Okay. And after Neon is freed and exposition is given, Jack just walks out and uses his crystal to play tunes in his ears? I'm sorry, do crystals work like iPhones or something? Does this world have Raycons? Come on, I don't think you can just slip that in and expect everyone to follow. And there, she happens to find Gunvolt and return him to normal, before turning him into a dog because she's not used to purifying a primal dragon. I'm guessing someone was playing Twilight Princess that day. But more about the weird choices. Let me put it this way, if I showed you some of this stuff out of context, you would probably be horribly confused. This is a game that lets you pretty much break every rule of the road known to man, just to make your way over to mow some grass. You can partake in battles in a mech suit, and then do something like plunge a toilet, or collect trash in alligator-infested territory only a few minutes later, and one of the bosses has a phase that's literally a game of musical chairs. Oh, and did I mention the story overall pays tribute to a lot of modern-day films, especially superhero blockbusters, and a lot of classic films and classic anime alike? Yeah, this game is completely bonkers in terms of tone and style, but that's precisely why I love it. But everything else about this dungeon is just great. The atmosphere, the layout, the puzzles, the subplot, and even the conclusion where the two yays make up and show their affection towards one another. Where you can collect the hearts that come from them as health. Jeez, love really is the most powerful force of all. Wolf may not have been successful in his mission to stop Star Fox, but he sure as heck was successful in providing such fun fights. And now it's time for me to break the illusion and show my favorite way to dodge lightning tornado. Oh, come on, it's funny.
Whoa, that's a cool suit. Where can I get one of those?
Patience, child. Patience.
I'm gonna tell him.
Aw, but that'd spoil the surprise.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? Oh, sorry. I'm sure you're already well aware.
I feel ya, Chewie. I feel ya.
That is definitely a mood right there. And it's fun to get all these just to hear him react to you, ranging from boasting about his superiority, to generally getting scared or angry later on.
What? You're nearly done? You cheating, looking them up on the internet.
You cannot prove anything.
This may not be my favorite remake in this series, but Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl did everything they needed to do in order to provide a fresh new take on a Sinnoh adventure. Minus making Gliscor accessible during the main story normally. Game Freak, please stop treating him so badly. You can only feed them to Tims in the hub world, which barely does anything useful. Which is a problem when picking up Tims and throwing them into the abyss is the only sort of interaction you have with them. There is no pet simulator with them, there is no reward for feeding them excessive amounts of raindrops, even if one decides to eat one clearly 5 times its own size, and you don't get any sort of minigames with them. Though now that I say that, I wonder what Tim boxing would be like. You just let them essentially build the hub world for you. All they do is jump on trampolines, go in this wheel, and go on this obstacle course, and the hub just builds itself. Am I supposed to find this impressive? Because I didn't do anything aside from maybe teach one how to fly.
You know, that reminds me of an attack that recently got nerfed in this fighting game. This isn't a game, this is real life.
Are you sure about that?
When I played it, I was shocked with how much freedom you had with the brush. It's active at all times, even in cutscenes, and the title screen, and you can basically use it to draw or color basically anything you want. And yes, it is as amazing and amusing as it sounds. Not to mention mess with the guards, who I like to imagine Ray Romano and Dennis Leary's voices coming out of.
Dan, the hungry tiger, ate the pesky little kids.
Other than that, this game's pretty strong on the presentation side of things.
Yeah, despite the issues I came across, I definitely do commend the amount of effort that went into the game's presentation, and it overall looks and sounds great enough so the flaws don't override the good stuff.
Kind of a weird choice to use the word override there.
Well, considering there aren't too many glaring flaws aside from the glitches, the stuff that's great is able to stick out more. Like a bantha. Yes? Maybe not. Want to move on to gameplay?
Right by you on that one.
And to make matters worse, the way the player and Akira are in tune with legions are exactly what the commander of Neuron, Joseph Calvert, needs for his project to help humanity evolve.
Yosef.
This isn't an RPG per se, but the system is a good way of opening up more ways to approach everything, which is great. Gotta say, I think some of the artwork for them is pretty funny. And to successfully draw something that exudes joy, I drew Spider-Man. Because if Spider-Man does not express joy to you, then I don't know what to tell you. The catch is though, if you use too much of this power, or if you get hit by way too many enemies, Gunvolt loses control and essentially says, "This planet!" and just destroys everything, sending you back to the title screen. Now that I'm thinking about it, this trick reminds me a lot of the Winter Sports Champion race from Mario and Sonic at the Sochi Olympics. Both start off on a mountain before gradually making changes at certain intervals, either through what you're using or the level itself, before being an all-out dash to the finish line. Only difference is that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a good game. I'd recommend going for the first 2 stud multiplayers as soon as you can, because they will make getting a lot of this content way easier. There's some stuff in this game that goes for ridiculous prices, so with them, you can essentially be like, my studs have octupled since the last time we met, Viceroy.
Good. 8 times the studs, 8 times the fall.
And then there's the Box Fox. Conceptually, cute. A fox that turns into a box. But when you realize that when you're turned into a box, out of your control, you cannot influence your direction or change your momentum on your own, you cannot exit at any point, you're just stuck like this until a certain amount of time has passed, or if you plummet into a bottomless pit or lose the costume. This costume completely holds you back, and how it got greenlit and put into the game is a downright enigma. The overall art style of the game, Howard and Crease.
Well, at least that guy lived a good life. I don't know. He looks pretty young. I said good, not long. Besides, the older you get, the less happy you are. Amen.
I may not have done anything particularly notable for this game's 10th anniversary, but I just want to reiterate how much I adore Just Lazy and Tail. It's also in this mode where you get to play as the Joker. If you're playing the game on Mac or PS3 or any 8th generation console via the Return to Arkham version, or you mod the PC version, like I did. If you know what you're doing with these, then it becomes less fitting to play Lumen songs over the action, and more fitting to play What's that? Anakin and Yoda get to team up on Dooku together? Sweet! This is cool! And it's neat knowing that this means Anakin won't lose his hand. Oh. But that mood, along with how the fight plays out, are why I love it so much, and it made saving a friend all the more rewarding. But then afterwards, Rodon seals her inside some thingamajiggy, turning it into a spiked whip, and gives it to you as a new weapon. Rodon makes a very good Santa, if you couldn't tell. Also, the sliding minigame is really enjoyable, and having the snow monster as a party member is great. But sadly, there's no Oaken. Very cold of you, game. Also, yes, I always choose to go in swimming trunks because Mario can resist the cold pretty well in it, despite shivering in his idle animation. And if you look hard enough, you can find entire cruisers that you can fight and commandeer for yourself, and essentially gain a new hub world. Steffi, are we playing a new Star Wars Battlefront game?
Given that this game had actual content at release, and didn't launch with a predatory loot box system that blew up in the entire AAA industry's face, I don't think so. Speaking of Battlefront, visiting the archives in the Jedi Temple gives me very traumatic flashbacks to Operation Nightfall from the original Battlefront 2.
We will never forget the pain those bookcases inflicted on us. By the way, good to know that this place seems to be doing okay, even after all the Jedi basically died, but the icing on the cake is easily the ice physics here. Like, seriously, the stuff you can do with them makes me laugh so hard that I could just freeze up. And I think the devs were aware of how funny they were, which is even better. Even though he would need a large amount of Legionuses to complete the project, of which there aren't that many, he came up with a compromise with the clones of Akira, which allowed him to succeed in bringing his project to fruition, Noah. Wait a second. Noah. Yosef the Ark.
I get it!
Thank you so much for joining me, buddy. Playing this with you reminded me of those times where we played the older games together.
Just like the old days.
And it all culminates in a beam collision between the CHIQ Marble Buster and the final ultimate legendary Earth Power Supermax Justice Future Miracle Dream Beautiful Galaxy Big Bang Little Bang Sunrise Starlight Infinite Fabulous Totally Final Wonderful Arrow. Could not resist saying that a second time, and I'm not sorry.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
The memes about Armstrong shall be eternal. Well, that was fun. We reviewed a game, your Desert Crap Hole is probably been set ablaze, so... now what?
Wanna buy some death sticks?
Do they sell death sticks around here?
Let me check. Anyone sell death sticks around here?
Freeze!
Okay, now the Empire's on us.
Now I really do have a bad feeling about this.
You two are under arrest for assisting Joyce with highly vital information to escape the planet.
You'll be brought before the Emperor and judged for your treachery against the Empire.
Do you want to buy some death sticks?
Wait, Step, I just thought of something. You two will buy us some death sticks.
We will buy you some death sticks.
We will buy you some death sticks.
Afterwards, you will drop charges you pressed, go home, and rethink your lives.
Afterwards, we will drop any charges you pressed, go home, and rethink our lives.
Afterwards, we will drop any charges we pressed, go home, and rethink our lives.
And you will give us your weapons.
And we will give you our weapons.
And we will give you our weapons.
Huh. Guess we're really in touch with the Force.
I'm sick of all this Sanded Empire crap. I'm going to Naboo after this.
But until then, all I can say is, thank you for watching. Oh, well, we do sell them here!